What is going on, everybody? Don here, and happy Saturday evening. Um, so this is something I've wanted to get through or get to for a while, but I was kind of waiting for the Sword and Shield box prices to settle down a little bit, just so we had a little bit of normalcy. I first put out this video and analysis on April 11th, so we're talking 50 days later ish. So a meaningful amount of time. And yeah, initially what I did, and I did this for Sun and Moon also. I pulled that out because it's not super relevant at this point. It was more of just trying to gut check how booster box prices start to age, and really when the price of the box starts to approach the value of the set based on age, for all intents and purposes. So we have box price here, set value here, and then the price, the value, and the big items back then were Chilling Reign was undervalued, Evolving Skies, really all of these Sword and Shield sets based on age and the fact that they're all out of print. You go back to these early ones that are 5 years old. Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield, granted they were uh, shorter printed than the rest of these, but at some point, you know, things are gonna revert to the mean, and box prices are going to approach the overall set value or something close to that. And I know last time I did this video, there were folks in the chat that said, "Well, you have to use the weighted average of the pull rates and things like that." But ultimately, the math works out the same, so it's pretty much irrelevant. So let's go to the box prices and the set value for today. So uh, I look at this newest to oldest, but I want to start oldest to newest. So we're going to start at the bottom here. And what I did here was I have the change in box price and the change in set value. So as we can see here, a lot of the set values are down because the singles softened a little bit. They were pretty much at all-time highs across the board, except for these older three sets, which quite honestly don't have a whole lot of value in the singles anyway. But as we see the box prices across the board, every single box is up except for Surging Sparks and Journey Together. Journey Together 411 was relatively new. Surging Sparks has just been hit by a couple different waves of reprints, but as we can see, the boxes, or as we're going to discuss, the boxes are super undervalued based on where the singles value is today. So Sword and Shield base, this one's crazy. So the set value is only $438, but the booster box is now at $515. And if you go to TCG Player, I think there's like 6 boxes available until this is like a $1,500 box. A year ago, I got 4 of these on Card Shop Live. I paid $225 a buck. Yeah, $225 a box, and I'm like, these are kind of old. I'll buy them. Yeah, it seems like a good price. They came in super minty condition, and it's one of the better purchases I've done. So we're at 118%. Last time we're at 110%. So these are going to trade more than the value of the cards in the set, because the collectability and the rarity of the item has now surpassed the value of the cards inside, to the point where nobody's going to open these. Nobody gives a shit. They're going to open the set, or they're going to buy the box to own the box. Rebel Clash, 371 on the box price, so up a little bit. Set values 471, so 79%. Darkness Ablaze, complete garbage set. Box price 250. This set value is 242. This is the lowest price, with Obsidian Flames being a close number 2, which is kind of funny because they're both the third sets in the era. At 103% here, Vivid Voltage, everybody's favorite set to shit on. Box price $209, so up $9 from last time. 482 or 428 on singles, 49%. It's a little bit on the high side, but I think there's going to be some upside here, because at some point it's going to age to the point where people are going to forget the fact that this and Battle Styles were available forever. Battle Styles, super undervalued, and the reason for that is the boxes are 207. But the set value, it was 700 last time. It's still holding strong at 682. So 30% relative price to value. Chilling Reign, this was 19%. It's now 430 a box. I think I bought a box today for 410, which is awesome. Thank you, by the way. Set value 1670 or 1659. It's come down a little bit, but really 26% is still a long way to go on this, and evolving as well. 1850 for a box. You'll see them for 2 grand all over the place. There's a shitload of these boxes and cases out there in storage, in collections, but it doesn't matter because there's not that many in the market. Set value is 5,400 bucks, 5,500 bucks if you want to round up. So 34%. Then you get into the sets that just move the most. Fusion 775 up 60%. Brilliant stars at 429 up 48%. Astral Radiance out of nowhere 385 up 43%. Lost Origin 530 up 40%, and then Silver Tempest 350 up 27%. And I love Silver Tempest. It's one of my favorite sets. I wish I had a little bit more value, but the Lugia is great. So Brilliant Stars set value $1,074, Astral $972, and again the singles have gone down, have softened a little bit here. Lost Origin 1212, and then Silver Tempest 862. Not a whole lot of movement on this one. I know the last time some of the trainer gallery has sort of come back to life, and then the Lugia keeps going up. So since there aren't a whole lot of other meaningful cards in the set, every time that card goes up a buck, it takes up a lot of other cards going backwards that nobody gives a shit about. So it's it's very consistent. SV base, and again, all of these boxes are at all-time highs, almost every single one. So SV base 219 bucks, set value 529. Somebody said the other day that this set is complete garbage. This is a better set than any of these 3 boxes from early in the era for Sword and Shield, and other than Vivid Voltage, which was still available in January, I believe, Pokemon Center. The cards are worth more. So 41%. So this is a fair and reasonable value, I think, at this point. Once we get through April of next year, assuming that there's no reprints that come out in the 11th hour here, I could see these start to move up to 50-60% of value relatively quickly. But that also means that all of these guys need to move up to 60% of value of the overall set value for box price. And as you can see, they have a long way to go. They really do. So as things start to age, this is where we start to see the fragmentation of the market, because this is one of the most inefficient markets that I follow. And a lot of it really has to do with moodiness of the market, which is kind of crazy. So Paldea evolved, the second most valuable set. We'll just kind of throw Destined Rivals out for now because the set value is going to come down 26%. So undervalued still at $300 a box, fairly substantially. So again, when this rotates out and this number gets to 40% or 50%, you're looking at a $500-$600 box, and it's going to be there. Obsidian Flames. This is the complete and total outlier that I haven't been able to wrap my head around. So I'm going to call this a Sword and Shield base of the era. So we know that when the set came out, the print time that the booster boxes were in print at Millennium Print Group was a shorter time frame than everything else in the era. I don't know if that has anything to do with it specifically. I don't know what the magnitude of that that impact would be. But the box prices are 85% of the set value, which is really, really interesting. And even the ETBs are like $100, which, I mean, $100 for the ETBs, what, 9 packs? So that's factoring in like a $400 box price. This is a weird one to me, and I haven't figured it out yet. Paradox Rift 213, 24% of set value. This should probably be a $225, $250 box. And it's going to be as we push through year end here. Temporal 225, 28% of set value. This set's it's a weird set because there's no real main card that jumps out and says, chase me. There's a couple cards that are, B plus, if you will. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this set. And this is a set when it came out. I went pretty big into it because everybody hated it. Um, and there wasn't a whole lot of it out there. I remember, was it last year in the Mayhem sale? I bought like 10 or 20 cases, and I just bought them off TCG Player, and I think I paid like 530 equivalent with the 13% off, which was great. Twilight Masquerade, $240 a box, over $1,000 value, 23%. There's still upside on this box. There is. If it gets reprinted and the singles come down, the set values come down, that's a different conversation. Once you get from temporal up, these have a full almost 2 years left in rotation. So kind of all bets are off. We have a good idea of what the world looks like for the next 6 months. And then after that, from at least my perspective, it's a blank canvas. I know everything's planned out on the Pokemon Center or the Pokemon side, but it's just it's anybody's guess from my perspective as an outsider. So Stellar Crown, $440 set value, $217 box price, 49%. So this is a little on the high side. It's a little bit higher than where I thought it would be, but the single values are also inflated because this happens to be probably the second most often ripped regular set next to Destined Rivals for rip and shippers. Now, obviously, Journey spiked when the set came out. Now it's slowed down a little bit. Twilight it's above average, but never great. Paldea Evolved, not so much because it's really hard to get. So Stellar has kind of been pretty high on the folks that I talked to's list. So I don't know if the set value is low because of that, or if the set value is low because of all the values in IRs instead of SIRs with the Bulbasaur and the Squirtle. But we'll see what happens because this is a little bit on the high side. But then again, we see what happened with Obsidian Flames. So it's just too early to tell. So surging $229 a box. The set value, in spite of all the reprints here, it's still at $1,222. 19%. The box is undervalued probably by $100. Now, there's an almost infinite amount of time as Pokemon time goes for this to be reprinted again and again and again. We'll see. We'll see what the reprint strategy looks like as we get into Mega Evolutions here in September. I don't know if you guys saw, but the ZA game comes out October 16th. So there's about a month of hype going into there. You have MEO1 releasing into that hype, as I said about 2 weeks ago in one of my videos. So we'll see if they transition away from printing these to something else, if there's a massive dump of this product at some point in early 2026. Who knows? So Dream Together, this one's kind of right in the sweet spot of where it should be. $205 for the box price, $766 set value. Again, small set, really similar to Stellar Crown, 27%. So let's talk Destined Rivals. So Destined Rivals came out. The booster boxes tanked for about 3 seconds to like 220. They immediately all got bought back up to 250, 260, whatever the price. And these prices are all excluding sales tax and stuff like that. Now, the set value is interesting. So the set value, it's from Poké.io. It is a little dated because it's from 2 days ago. And I believe they're scraping their sites in waves. So we'll probably see it scraped tomorrow where everything gets updated. And I would imagine this number is going to come down to like 2,700. So that being said, the fact that the Mewtwo did trade once or twice sub 300, pushed right back to 350. It seems like everybody wants the boxes, but everybody's in a hurry to sell the singles. But people don't necessarily want to buy the singles because they saw what just happened with Surging Sparks. So it's an interesting dynamic because it's like everybody got half educated on how this works and not fully educated. So, with the set value well in the 2000s, the box price is super undervalued. Now, they're going to come out with more. There's going to be a second wave at some point that comes out if they didn't dump everything in the first wave. I don't think they did. We also haven't seen a second wave of Journey Together, so that's coming at some point. There's no need for them to do that for the next 4 or 5 months at the earliest. We have seen second waves of everything else, I believe. Now, that doesn't mean like Stellar Crown, for example, you can still get that in Europe and the UK, in US printing. So there's probably some of that coming back here. Same with Twilight, I believe. Temporal, maybe. But we'll see. So again, with Destined, the value of the cards in the set more than supports the box price. I've been saying this from the start. Another YouTuber who came in our Discord and likes to talk a lot of trash, and then when people talk trash back, he kind of cried and left the Discord. Likes to say, I said, hey, yeah, buy him at $350. What I said was the value of the cards in the set are going to support a box price. Like, quite honestly, it's $250, $350, whatever. And it's going to, because we see what the set value is. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to be the case in the future, but the value of the cards in the set at release will have a direct impact on how much people are paying for the box price. Yeah, that's economics, finance. It's just fucking common sense. If you disagree with that, quite honestly, you should probably find a different hobby, or buy Obsidian Flames and open it. So anyway, I just want to walk through this. And again, just in summary here, this is by era. So when we looked at it last time, the price per value across all of Sword and Shield was 28.5%. Or I'm sorry, Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield's 44.5. Now, these numbers do exclude Destined Rivals. It's an outlier in the data right now. So it's just going to skew stuff to the point where it doesn't need to be. So 213 average box price. Now it's 231. So 35.9%. Now, again, it's skewed upwards by Obsidian Flames, but this is not a weighted average. This is a simple average. So do with that what you will. And then 54.5% for Sword and Shield, again, skewed very, very highly by Darkness Ablaze, Rebel Clash to some extent, and Sword and Shield base. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was interesting. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord. We have sales on Pokemon all the time. We just did some European boxes at $200 a box. For members, we are doing Edge of Eternity's play boxes. For members, again, it's $14.99 a month. At $600 or $599.99 per case. We're only selling them by the case. The shipping for individual boxes just doesn't support that price point. So if you're interested, feel free, join the Discord, ask questions. And if you want some deals, we will not cancel your order. So, all right, guys, have a great night.